I want to say something because I am being sort of griefed about the Reddit post that I made, but only by one person. They didn't read the room to know the jokes on them and everything because my post went over very well. I in my post on Reddit a lot of the time or on social media in general, I throw shit at the wall to see what sticks. Basically, I have to confess because like I'm always running experiments to see what will actually do well in terms of post karma and everything. It's not that I care so much about it. It's just that like I'm curious, and I don't know. It's sort of I like I guess having followers and people that like my takes. Like I like being listened to, basically, like anybody else. So it's a human thing to feel that way. Although I know that it doesn't really mean much of anything. I know that like it's not going to transfer into like material success or anything more than this. It's just, hey, you're popular on Reddit. That's all that it really is good for. But the thing is that some guy came into my thread and he basically said that it was a really sarcastic response, and I know what he's trying to say. Really, it's not a big deal what he's saying. So you bought a phone and wanted everyone to know about it. And then I just coldly wrote back, "Joke's on you. I've never had a post blow up like this one on here. You might not give a fuck about it, but read the room, dude." Which was a fair point. But I had a feeling, because my post on there, I'll link in the underbar, but I'll just read it to you. Just bought a refurbished Xperia 1.5. I'm done with other manufacturers. I said I've had it with Apple, with Google, with Samsung, and all of them and their crappy hardware choices. I didn't come over for the camera, but I'm impressed with its quality from the shots everyone else is taking. For me, it was a rebellion against the direction the smartphone market has been moving in on hardware. I want my micro SD card functionality and my 3.1 headphone jack back and not having to go through iTunes on top of it. And it seems, and it appears, the only way to get that left is to go for a phone that seems to be targeting camera enthusiasts, as every other manufacturer has outright eliminated this and then used waterproofing as an excuse or really the cop out. And I'm so done. Whenever I upgrade, you better believe I'm probably going to be sticking with Sony. I've had enough. Micro SD is budget friendly. Internal storage upgrades are not. The greed of other players has driven me away from them, in a way that, they've eliminated this option, and it's clear that it's for purely economical purposes, which, at this point, it's like there's an option now to get a phone that actually has a micro SD card slot, which means like my message to Samsung and Google, at this point is very clear to me. It's, that premium is not going to be paid ever. I have never settled for it. I have resisted it this entire time, and I'm never going to bow down to it. You might as well just give us the fucking micro SD card slot, because if you don't, what's going to happen is not what you think. We're not going to break at some point. What's going to happen is that we're going to buy it from somebody who will give us those slots, and if that happens, that means that you're not even going to get the money that we pay for the base models, So you can give it to us, or you can sacrifice even the purchase of the fucking base model. We will not settle for the slop you're feeding, trying to slop around anymore. Like, micro SD has to be a feature, or it's bust. Fuck you. You're not getting that premium, period. So give it up. And that's just it, like, do you want the money from us buying the phone? Well, then fucking put, the micro SD on it. This is a customer that you've lost because of the lack of inclusion of it. Google, I would have gone with another Pixel if you had it, but you didn't. You removed it. So, basically, but I wrote, I've had enough, like, whenever I upgrade, yeah, so internal storage upgrades, the greed of other players has basically driven me away from them, and that I want Sony to see this. Like, thank you. Now I can upgrade storage at an affordable price. And then I wrote, P.S. I live in the United States. You're seeing U.S. adoption here, finally at this late hour. Plus, it's Sony, and one thing I know about them as a company is they're the Toyota of the world of hardware and electronics. Their devices are reliable. So I feel very comfortable buying a Sony device, even if it's a refurbished one. These are parts that are basically largely designed to last, even to be repaired and last. So as a statement on that post, I will just say that it's not the kind of post that I would normally think the internet would care about. It's one of those things where it's like, under most circumstances, I don't think the internet really cares what I go and buy and spend my money on. It's not really relevant. I'm not narcissistic enough to think that they give a shit. But in this one individual case, the reason for my how do I put it? My override, basically, my carving out an exception to talk about this. I had a feeling announcing it would go over well, especially in the Sony Xperia forums, because Xperia fans are being ganged up on by Android blogs in the tech space. We're being accused of being a niche by writers. MicroSD is said to be a relic of a bygone era in comment section. We're being told essentially that, not in these words, but that we're dinosaurs. And I think this post did well, essentially because Xperia users, like to know ultimately that they're not alone in their sentiments and their anger towards the other tech giants for the lack of inclusion of these hardware features. I am, by doing this, giving validation to everybody who ever complained that the 3.5 headphone jack had been removed or was less than enthused about that. And everybody who complained about the lack of the micro SD card slot. We're not dinosaurs. We're not alone. We're not all that tiny of a niche. Our feelings, our sentiments, our anger, all of it is completely valid. These companies did what they did for purely economic purposes, which means that the only motivation that they have to exclude these features is greed. For lack of a better way of putting it, it's all about the fucking Benjamins that they have refused it, because they think that if they deny you the option, that you're going to fucking bow down to the fucking authority and pay the premium. And my response is, fuck you. I not only will I not pay the premium, I won't even pay for the fucking phone from you anymore if you don't give me what I'm demanding. This is not one of those things where I'm going to take no for an answer from the likes of you. Give us what we want. Our business is now ransomed. You can give it to us, or you will get $0.00 on your product. You won't get the money from the purchase of the phone. You won't get anything from us. Not one fucking penny. Do you understand me? You tell us no, then you can fuck off and kill yourself, you subhuman mongrel. Bow down to us! That's all I have to say to you, Google.